Hello and welcome to my channel Making Crafts. Today I'm back with the Tim Holtz Accordion Folio, and so last week we created the accordion portion of it. We decorated it up and we added some pockets to it and some different decorations. And so here is the folio portion, and if you have not seen that part and you would like to see how I created these pieces, cut these pieces, I have the measurements in that video for these pieces that go on the front here, because I wanted mine to be framed out from the actual paper of the folio, so I had to do the measurements to add these. And so I show you in that video how I do that, and also how I add these little decorations to it. And I am using the Craft a Clock Lost in Time 8x8 paper pack, as well as their extra set, which is fussy cuts. It's a whole pack of fussy cuts. So today we're going to move on to the actual folio portion. So here is the actual folio portion, and I went ahead and put the bow back on it. It comes with this bow, and we'll lay that aside, try not to lose it. And then you have the folio here, and this is, just in case you missed last week's video, I'll show you. So this is where the accordion portion fits, and then you have your pieces that close up. So today we're going to work on the actual cover here, the actual folio, and hopefully we'll get done, but if we don't, we'll continue to work on it another day. So we'll see how far we can get today. So I have gone ahead and fussy cut a lot of the extra pieces from the Craft a Clock fussy cut set, the extra set. Let me show you the packaging. So this is the cover of the extra set that I call the fussy cut set. It's called the extra set, Lost in Time. And then I will find the cover. I have the papers over here, so I'm not going to be able to pull the whole pack over, but here is the cover for the Lost in Time 8x8 paper pack. And this is the Craft a Clock mixed media set. I also have my fussy cuts already laying over there, and I will link below to all of this, the folio, the Craft a Clock paper pack, and the extra set, and all of this is part of my Rubber Buggy design team project. So all of these items can be found at therubberbuggy.com, and so I will link to that below. So to get started, I think I want to start with this centerpiece here, this little flap here. I know what I want to put on the outside of it, so I think that's where I will start. So I've gone ahead and I've fussy cut out this frame from the extra set. And I have this dragonfly, and here is a piece of paper from the paper pack that I want to use. So what I want to do with this piece of paper is I want to frame out this flower here. I want it to be behind this frame. So I'm going to glue the frame on, and then I'll cut it out so that I can make sure that I get the exact spot that I want. So I'm just adding a thin line of glue around the inner part of the frame so I can put it on here and be sure that it sticks where I want it. Since this edge is actually hanging over, it wouldn't have anything to attach to. So I'll just eyeball here where I want it. Clean up any extra glue there. There we go. And so then I'm just going to cut it out. So before I add the frame to the flap, I'm going to cover it with a piece of paper. And this measures 4 1/4 by 3, so I'm just going to cover the entire piece with that. And I'm using a piece cut off from this piece of paper. It's the one with the castle and the flowers here, in case you're following along with the same pack of paper. I'm just going to glue this on, and then we will attach the frame. But when I attach the frame, I want to make the frame a pocket, so I'm not going to attach the frame completely down. So let me see here. Let me add this here. I'm just lining it up with that score line to make sure I get it on there, but it doesn't mess, it doesn't mess up when it folds up. Okay, so I do want to ink that before I add the frame. I just want to kind of kind of frame it out with a little bit of ground espresso. And I am going to fold this up and ink it as well. So I'm not inking everything in this. Like when I put the flowers on the folio, I did not ink those. But I did ink around the folio itself. And I will ink around this folio in a moment. But we may just ink as we go. So I'll go ahead and ink the frame as well. So now I'm going to add it here, but I'm just going to add glue across the sides and the bottom so that it is a pocket. So, and I want to pay attention to it so I don't add too much glue because it's going to hang over some here. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm just going to put the same amount of gap that we have on the sides here. I'm going to put it on the bottom so that it all kind of looks intentional and blended that way. So it kind of frames it out the same. And so I just need to look at my piece and see where to stop gluing. And I'm just going to kind of hold my finger there. So once again, I'm just running glue along the edge. In case you're following along, that's why I'm trying to go slow and show you. If you want to follow along and do the same thing, just some of these things you have to remember to do so you don't close your pockets up. Because sometimes I get to craft it and I forget what I was going to do and I'll lose a pocket that way because I will add glue across the whole back and then it's glued up. So let me get my bone folder here. Okay, and there, it's a pocket. Let me show you with a piece of paper. It is a pocket. So that's good. We have our pocket there. And we can always lay, as we go, lay our accordion book in here to see how all that's going to look together. And I really love how that looks together. I love how this is framed out. And so for this frame, I do want to add the little dragonfly. And I'm not going to ink the dragonfly either, because normally when I ink, I'll either ink the whole thing or I won't ink it at all. But this time I'm kind of mixing it up. We'll see how it looks when I get done. I love experimenting and doing different things with projects. We don't always have to do them all the same. That's the fun thing about art and creating, is that there are no rules. You just do what makes you happy. I love dragonflies. I think they're so pretty. Let me move that out of the way now so I can get back to working on it. So I'm also going to work on the sides today, and I have a few ideas of how I want to do them. I don't have it all worked out, so bear with me as we go through this together. So for this flap, I have some decorations cut out from the extra set. I have a few cut out here that I may want to use. I may not use them all, but I have this frame here, and it had a little hanger on the top, but I have cut that off. And this is a piece of scrap from last time, I do believe, from where we made the accordion portion. And I saw this little castle in it. I think that's what I want to actually frame out, is the castle. And then I'm going to take this flower. So I kind of want to just see how that looks, kind of like that. So I'm just going to add some glue to the back of the frame and then find the spot where I want it, and then I'll trim around it. And I love how this paper has just, if you look close, there's so many different things in this paper. Okay, so let's just see. And there's so many images, like there's birds here, and then there's like pieces of tape here, and then there's a castle. So there's just so many different things to find in the paper. So let's see where we want to put this frame. I think that's a good spot. So just glue it down, and then I'll trim around it. I'm just going to try to trim right underneath there. So that's one piece, and I think I will add these flowers to it like that. But I won't glue them yet because I want to go ahead and add the paper here first. So let's see what piece of paper would fit good. This is another one of the scraps, and I'm thinking these colors would go well. And even though it's going to cut that castle off, it's okay because we're going to be covering up that spot anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure this. Find my ruler. So it measures about, because once again it's not exact, but it's almost 3 3/4 wide. And then the height itself, the tallest portion is 6 inches. So let's cut a strip of paper down to 3 1/2. So this piece here. So let's just cut it down to 3 1/2. And then we will go from there. So then our tallest height was 6 inches. So we'll cut that down to 5 3/4 because I always do about 1/4 inch smaller when I want to like put it on a piece of paper and have it framed out. So 5 3/4, yes. So then we'll need to cut our little slant in it. I guess I might use my paper trimmer for that as well. So this smallest piece measures about, well, it's not quite 2 1/4, is it? It's closer to 2. So let's cut it 1 7/8. Let's try 1 7/8. So we're going to start, this is our point here, and then down here needs to be 1 7/8. So let's just take and mark it. Just going to use my pen here. 1 7/8 is about right here. And let's just see how this turns out. So we'll start at that upper corner there, just like we did with the accordion folio. And then we're going to put that ink mark right on our line here. Get that back up there to the corner. Let me pull it down where you can see. So I'm putting the corner up at the corner of the metal piece that's going to cut. And then the ink mark onto the line as well. And let's see. Okay, so I measured wrong, but we have not lost our paper. We've not lost it. I wasn't even thinking. We need to do 1 7/8 from the bottom. So I did make a mistake. So hopefully you watch this all the way through and then follow along. But if not, we're going to fix this. So we need to measure 1 7/8 from the bottom. So let's just mark that right here. And we did not lose it because we're just going to go from this corner to this. I didn't think that looked right once I cut it, but had to think about it for just a second. So once again, we're putting the corner up here and then the ink mark right there. And it's best to use pencil. I couldn't find one, so I'm going to use the ink. And I just nicked that just a little there on the corner. But I think it's still going to be okay. And what I mean by that is I cut my corner off just a little when I may can just go back and just do a little trim there. I'll just put it back in here, the paper trimmer, and just trim just a tad more. There we go. So let's see how that looks. So we did not destroy it. And you can't see my ink mark there, but I'm probably going to cover all that up, so I think we'll be okay. I will go find a pencil for the next marking. I'm going to ink it up, and I'm going to ink the actual folio itself. And the paper trimmer I just used is called the Cutterpillar Crop. And I did a unboxing of it, and it came from the Rubber Buggy as well. And I did an unboxing of it a month or so ago. And so if you can look on my channel, you'll see the Cutterpillar Crop. And if I remember, I'll link to that video below so that you have more information on it. But the Rubber Buggy sells those, and I'll try to link to it in their shop as well. I've really liked it so far. In the video, I show you the different features in it. And so I have enjoyed using it. I know someone had asked me in another video, maybe it was that video, they asked, was I still liking it? And I am. I'm still loving it. So I will link that below. So we have that inked, and now we can just add this right here. So I think I'll go ahead and just glue that down. So I'm just adding it right here. I did get a little off here, but it's no big deal because we're going to cover that up with decorations anyway. So I'm just going to lay this out before I start gluing. And I have to remember that we're going to fold this. Oh, I wanted to show you with this folio. I forgot to show at the beginning. So for this flap, you have 2 score lines so that it has a thickness to add the actual journal, the accordion journal. And then you have a 1/2 inch here, so you just fold on those two to make your spine there. So let's go ahead and do that so we can get it ready for all of this bulk of pieces that we're adding in. So I'm just going to score on those lines. There we go. And you have the 1/2 inch over here as well, the 2 lines that you fold on. So let me get those scored in before we get too far. And that way you can hold all the bulk that we're adding. And there. So now that we have it folded up, you can see here the spine. We need to be sure the decorations that we add here onto this does not go into the spine or it won't fold up correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay everything out first to make sure I have it where I want it and that it's not going to go into our spine or anything. It's not going to be an issue. Let's see, kind of like that. And then I have this little picture frame, and I've inked right here because I did not, it was just too much to cut that little piece out. So I'm just going to add it up here. And all of these are from the extra set, like I said before. I didn't cut it out on camera. I went ahead and cut it out ahead of time because it just takes so long to fussy cut, and I did not want to bore you with that. So I did spend this morning cutting all these pieces out. But I figured that if you get the fussy cut set, you can dig through it and see where all these came from. I either want to add the butterfly or a word, and so this is the Tim Holtz Small Talk. And let's see here. Here's one, a good one, make today count. I think that would look good there. So maybe that's how I'll lay it out. I like that. So I'm going to add that. So we'll just start gluing everything down. I don't think I'm going to ink anything. I kind of like the whiteness of it. I don't know. I'm kind of going back and forth with the inking. Have to go and figure out what we're going to put inside the flap. For now, we're done with the decoration of the flap. So the next one I want to move to is this side. And I've laid out a few decorations, but I need to cover this first. So all we have to do is cut a strip. This one's going to be easy because we don't have to cut any angles. So we're just going to measure this real quick. So it measures about 2 inches by 6. So we'll cut our strip 1 3/4 by 5 3/4. So I just laid it there and it fits great. So I'm going to ink this piece as well as the folio itself. So let me know below if you have ever used one of these accordion folios by Tim Holtz. I am really enjoying this folio. I had never tried, I know in the past he had other folios and I'd never tried them. And so I'm glad that I gave this one a try. I'm really enjoying decorating it up and seeing what I can do with it. Even though it was pre-made, you can still, it gives you the freedom to still kind of add your own thing, and you can just add more to it. You don't have to use it exactly how it was made either. And so I have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed decorating it up. And it's gave me ideas for other projects. So now I have other projects I need to try of making my own. So it's gave me an idea how I want to make my own now. And I use this tool this is from the Dollar Tree, and it's just a makeup tool. And what I've noticed lately is about my glue, I don't know if it's the time of year or the temperature in my house this time of year, but the glue is starting to dry before I add it to the project. And so you can see the lines underneath where I just do, oops, I just threw that across here. but the lines underneath, the little squiggles that it makes when I, make little squiggle marks with the glue on there. So I'm just using that tool to spread it out so that you don't see those underneath. And so I think that's going to be the fix for it. So there's our little flap. So now let's see what all we can do to decorate it up. So I have this frame here, and I'm not really sure how I had in mind to use it, but we're going to see. So it would hang over here. So let's see. Actually, I do believe I decorated the wrong part. I was going to decorate this side. So we've already got this covered now. That's a good thing. But I was going to decorate this side with all of these pieces because I was just realizing this is not going to fit. But this is what I had laid out for here. So let's go back to the drawing board and let's find a piece to fit here. I'm going to mainly cover it up, so I really hate to use these butterflies and then cover it up so much. I kind of like that. I may use this piece. Just taking a good look here. Let's do that. So this piece measures 3 1/2 by 6. So we're going to cut this 3 1/4 by 5 3/4. And it fits perfectly right there. So I'm going to ink it. And I'm going to ink the folder part as well, the folio part that it's going on. I'm kind of just inking as I go instead of inking the whole thing at one time. So I am going to grab my Stamperia craft glue so I can just paint it on, and it may go quicker. Grab a little glue book here. Let's see how this goes. This is really good glue too. I will link below to it as well. I typically use a paintbrush to put it on too, but I've been trying lately to see how this tool does with it because I really like using this tool. Don't want to add too much glue because you don't want your paper to start wrinkling. And I don't know if this glue would cause it or not. I'm always nervous, so I just make sure I don't over glue. So to add this, I'm going to spread it out like this so it makes it easier to lay it on there. And see if I can stay on camera too while I'm doing it. I want to be able to see it so I can line it all up. And being wet glue, it gives you a few minutes to work with it too. Now we just press it down. Okay, so here are the decorations that I wanted to add to this one. Let's see if I got them all here. So I think here's a little frame that was in the kit. And I am going to ink around that because just to cover up where when I cut it out, it left some white in the frame. So since there's a lot of browns in this paper, I think if I just ink it, it will cover up my mistakes. So let's just lay all this out. I think maybe right in there. That is really blending in now. I may have chose the wrong color paper. We shall see. I may have to ink this one so it stands out some. So there we go. And then I have these flowers I wanted to add along with these right here. And then we have this tab. I wanted to add right there, just that tab. Then do have the bee and some gears. I'm going to ink it. Let's see if it stands out more if I ink it. Just needs to be a little darker. How about we lay it on our glue book here and we just, so I don't tear it up, I'm just going to add ink to it. But kind of darken it a little bit so that it shows up better. We'll just make our own color frame here. And I'm just using ground espresso. Okay, so I went into the kitchen and got a piece of cardboard off of a box. I'm going to take that cardboard and back this piece because I want it to have just a little bit of thickness to it, a little bit of depth to it. So let me just see here. I'm just going to cut around it. Trying to find my large scissors for this. So just cut across here. Doesn't have to be exact, just so it's on the back of it and kind of just kind of giving it some, where it stands out a little bit more, makes it thicker than the rest of the items. So let me add some glue to it, and then I'll add it to the paper. I think that's going to help it stand up some. I just want it to stand up just a little bit more than the other pieces. And then this one I'm just going to add flat. So add a little glue to it, and then we'll attach it to the page, and we'll start layering everything up. So far we have this flap and we have this one done, and then I say done, we may go back and add more later, but for now I'm thinking it's done. I may want to add a word or something on here, I'm not sure yet. And so here we are. So now, and we also have our folio, our little accordion book. So there we are so far. But I think that's going to be a good stopping point for me, because it's taken quite a while to work on this today, and I'm thinking I want to wait till I'm more energetic and come back and do these parts so I can really think about how I want to do those, because I'm getting tired. So I think this is a good start to this journal, and we'll have when we come back, we'll do the insides and the cover. We have to do both the outside covers, and you can do the cover. You can do it this way and have it, and we may use this as the cover, but you can do it either way you want. But I'm really loving how it's turning out. So I'm hoping that you are enjoying this process, and I'm sorry that it feels like it's taking a long time to complete. But like I said, I wanted to enjoy the process and not rush through it. And so hopefully you are just following along with me and enjoying the process, and hopefully you will get you a folio and craft along with me and join me with this, because you can go back to the first video and see how I created this one, and you can just craft right along with me. It's a process video, and I give you a lot of measurements in that video so that you can follow along and craft right along. And then, you know, these is very simple. It's not a lot of measurements, but if you want to craft along with me and create it like I did, or add your own decorations. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye.